Ambassador Hyun sat in his small office at the edge of human space. The room was quiet except for the soft hum of machines keeping the station running. He had been alone here for 6 months, watching empty space and waiting for something that might never come. Hyun was old, even by human standards. His family had lived through the last war 3,000 years ago. His great-great-grandmother used to tell stories about the fighting, about ships burning in space and worlds turned to glass. Those stories felt like dreams now. Most humans had forgotten there was ever a war at all. The communication panel on his desk started beeping. Hyun looked up from his book and frowned. Nobody contacted this station anymore. The last message had come 2 years ago, and that was just a supply ship asking for directions. He pressed the button to open the message. The screen filled with symbols he had not seen in decades. They were Velkari letters, the language of humanity's old enemies. Hyun felt his heart beat faster as he read the translation. The message was simple and direct. The Velkari High Council demanded that all humans surrender immediately. They wanted every human world, every ship, every station handed over without a fight. Humans had 30 days to give up everything or face total destruction. Hyun read the message 3 times to make sure he understood it correctly. Then he started laughing. He laughed so hard that tears came to his eyes. He laughed until his sides hurt and he had to hold onto his desk to stay standing. The Velkari thought humans were still the same species they had fought before. They remembered humans as desperate fighters who barely knew how to travel between stars. They remembered chemical rockets and metal bullets. They remembered humans who died easily and fought with simple weapons. Hyun wiped the tears from his eyes and sent a copy of the message to Terra Defense Command. He added only one note. They still think we are the same species they fought before. On the planet Terra, far from Hyun's lonely station, other people were reading the same message. In a deep underground room, Director Sue sat with Admiral Wu and Prime Minister Mira. They had been waiting for this message for a very long time. Sue was the head of human strategic intelligence. She knew everything about the Velkari and their allies. For 3,000 years, her organization had watched them from the shadows. They knew how many ships the aliens had, where they kept their weapons, and how they liked to fight. Admiral Wu commanded the Terran Stellar Navy. He was a tall man with gray hair and calm eyes. He had spent his whole life preparing for a war that might never come. Now that war was finally here, and he felt strangely peaceful about it. Prime Minister Mira spoke first. "So they finally remembered we exist," she said with a small smile. "I was starting to think they would ignore us forever." Sue pulled up a holographic display showing the alien message. "They are using the same communication codes they used 3,000 years ago. Their encryption is so old that our computers broke it in less than a second." Wu studied the alien demands. "They want all our worlds in 30 days. That means they think we are too weak to fight back. They expect us to just give up." "Do they know anything about what we have become?" Mira asked. "Nothing at all," Sue replied. "Their last intelligence report about humans is 3,000 years old. They think we still live on just a few planets and fly around in metal ships. They have no idea what the Great Evolution accomplished. The Great Evolution was humanity's greatest secret. During the 3,000 years of peace, humans had changed themselves in ways the aliens could never imagine. They were stronger, smarter, and lived much longer than before. Human technology had advanced beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. But most importantly, humans had learned patience. Wu opened another display showing human fleet positions. "How long do you think it will take them to realize their mistake?" "Not long," Mira said. "The question is how much of their fleet they will send for the first attack." Sue smiled coldly. "According to our spies, they are gathering the largest war fleet in galactic history. 10,000 ships, maybe more. They want to crush us so completely that other species will be afraid to resist them." "Perfect," Wu said. "The bigger the fleet, the bigger the message we will send when we destroy it." Mira stood up and walked to the window. Outside, Terra looked peaceful and green. Children played in parks while their parents worked in gardens. Nobody looked worried or afraid. Most humans did not even know the war had started yet. "Should we tell people?" Mira asked. "Not yet," Sue replied. "Let them enjoy their peace for a few more days. The war will come soon enough." Wu was already making plans. "I will contact Captain Taiho on the Silent Dawn. His ship is closest to Velkari space. He can watch their fleet movements and report back." Captain Taiho was exploring the empty regions between human and alien territory. His ship looked like an old cargo vessel. but it was really one of the most advanced scouts in the human fleet. The Silent Dawn could hide in places the aliens did not even know existed. Back on his station, Ambassador Hyun was still smiling as he wrote his daily report. He had spent 20 years studying the old war records. He knew exactly how humans had fought before, and he knew how different they were now. The Valkyrie remembered humans as young species who fought with anger and desperation. They remembered humans who needed food and water and air to survive. They remembered humans who could be broken by fear and pain. But those humans were gone. The humans of today were something completely new. They had spent 3,000 years preparing for this exact moment. Every human child learned about war in school. Every human adult understood their role in the Great Plan. Every human leader had been waiting patiently for the aliens to make their first mistake. Hyun looked out his window at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Valkyrie were gathering their fleets and planning humanity's destruction. They thought they were hunting prey that had grown weak and soft during the long peace. They were about to learn how wrong they could be. High Counselor Veltar stood before the greatest gathering in Valkyrie history. Representatives from 200 alien species filled the massive council chamber. The air buzzed with excitement as species that had been enemies for centuries came together for one purpose: the final destruction of humanity. Veltar was old, even by Valkyrie standards. His purple skin had darkened with age, and his forearms moved with careful precision as he spoke. He had been alive during the last war with humans, and he remembered how much trouble the primitive species had caused. "My fellow beings," Veltar began, his voice carrying across the chamber through translation devices. "Today we correct a mistake that has lasted for 3,000 years. Today we finish what we started long ago." The assembled aliens cheered. Species that normally hated each other nodded in agreement. Everyone remembered the stories of human expansion, how the young species had spread across the galaxy like a disease before the Armistice stopped them. Veltar activated a holographic display showing human space. It looked small and quiet compared to the vast territories controlled by the hegemony. "The humans have had 3,000 years to prepare for our return. They have done nothing with this time. Our scouts report the same primitive technology, the same weak defenses." This was not entirely true. The Valkyrie had no scouts in human space. They had simply assumed that humans could not have advanced much in such a short time. 3,000 years was nothing to species that lived for tens of thousands of years. "We have gathered the greatest war fleet ever assembled," Veltar continued. 10,000 ships from 50 different worlds. The humans will see our power and surrender immediately, or they will be destroyed so completely that no trace of their species will remain. The aliens cheered again. They liked the idea of an easy victory. Many of them had never fought humans before and only knew the old stories. In those stories, humans were dangerous because they bred quickly and fought without honor. But they were still just animals with simple technology. Veltar raised all four arms for silence. "In 1 standard hour, we will broadcast our demands across the galaxy. Every species will see how we deal with those who defy the natural order. The age of human infestation ends today." The chamber erupted in celebration. Representatives rushed to contact their home worlds with the news. War fleets that had been gathering in secret began moving toward human space. After 3,000 years of waiting, the great hunt was finally beginning. But far away in human space, the reaction was very different. Director Sue sat in her office deep beneath Terra's surface. The room was filled with screens showing information from across the galaxy. She watched the alien celebration with calm interest, like a scientist studying insects. Her communication panel chimed softly. Admiral Wu's face appeared on the screen and he was smiling. "Did you see the Valkyrie broadcast?" he asked. "Every word," Sue replied. "They are broadcasting it on every frequency in the galaxy. They want everyone to know they are coming for us." "How long until their fleet reaches our border?" Sue checked one of her displays. 15 days if they travel at maximum speed. 20 days if they stop to gather more ships along the way. And they still know nothing about our capabilities? Nothing at all. They think we are using the same technology we had 3,000 years ago. They expect to find humans flying around in metal ships powered by chemical engines. Wu laughed. "Have you seen their fleet composition?" Sue pulled up detailed intelligence reports. Human spies had been watching Valkyrie space for centuries. They knew exactly which ships were being sent and what weapons they carried. standard hegemony battle formation. Heavy cruisers for bombardment, light destroyers for cleanup. They are not even bringing siege equipment because they expect us to surrender immediately. What about their allies? Mostly support vessels. The Velkari convinced them this would be easy, so nobody sent their best ships. They are treating this like a parade instead of a war. Prime Minister Mira entered the room without announcement. Her security detail waited outside while she joined the conversation. Any word from our border stations? Ambassador Hyun reports that everything is quiet, Sue said. Captain Taiho is moving the Silent Dawn into position to observe their approach. We should have detailed scans of their fleet within a few days. Mira walked to the large window that showed Terra's peaceful surface. It has been a long time since humans went to war. Are our people ready? Admiral Wu answered immediately. Every ship captain has been training for this moment their entire life. Every soldier knows their role in the plan. We have been ready for 3,000 years. What about the civilians? They know what to do, Sue said. When the time comes, they will move to protected areas and continue their work. Our manufacturing capabilities will actually increase during wartime because people will stop taking vacations. This was one of the many things the aliens did not understand about modern humans. The old humans had panicked during war and made mistakes. The new humans had been preparing for war their entire lives. Every human child played war games in school. Every human adult had a wartime job assignment. Every human family knew exactly where to go and what to do when fighting started. Mira turned back to her advisors. When should we reveal our true capabilities? Not until their main fleet attacks, Wu said. Let them think they are winning right up until the moment we destroy them. The psychological impact will be much greater. Sue nodded in agreement. Our border worlds are prepared to look weak and defenseless. When the Velkari arrive, they will see exactly what they expect to see. Old human technology and small defensive forces. And then? Then we show them what 3,000 years of preparation can accomplish. Meanwhile, on the exploration vessel Silent Dawn, Captain Taiho received new orders from Fleet Command. His ship was to move closer to Velkari space and observe their fleet movements. The information he gathered would help determine exactly how the battle would unfold. Taiho was young for a ship captain, only 200 years old. He had been born after the Armistice and had spent his entire life preparing for a war he thought might never come. Now that the war was finally here, he felt excited rather than afraid. His ship officer, Grin, looked up from her sensor readings. Captain, we are detecting massive energy signatures from Velkari space. It looks like they are activating their entire war fleet. How many ships? At least 10,000, possibly more. This is the largest fleet movement in recorded galactic history. Taiho smiled. The larger the alien fleet, the more impressive their destruction would be. Set course for the monitoring position. And Grin? Yes, Captain. Activate the stealth systems. Let's make sure they cannot see us watching them. The Silent Dawn disappeared from normal space and began its journey toward the approaching storm. Behind them, human space looked quiet and peaceful. Cargo ships moved between planets carrying goods and passengers. Defense stations floated silently near important worlds. Everything looked exactly the way it had for 3,000 years. But appearances could be very deceiving. Hidden beneath the surface of peaceful worlds, vast factories worked day and night building weapons the aliens had never seen. In empty regions of space that looked completely vacant, massive war fleets waited in dimensions the aliens did not know existed. On planets the aliens thought were uninhabited, millions of human soldiers practiced for the coming battle. The Velkari had made their declaration. They had gathered their fleets and broadcast their threats across the galaxy. They thought they were hunting weak prey that would run or surrender when faced with superior force. Instead, they were walking into the most carefully prepared trap in galactic history. Captain Taiho watched the Velkari fleet through sensors that could see across dimensions. His ship, the Silent Dawn, floated in a pocket of space that existed between normal reality and somewhere else entirely. The aliens had no idea humans had learned to hide in places that should not exist. Science Officer Grin looked up from her readings with excitement in her eyes. Captain, their fleet composition is exactly what our intelligence predicted. They are using the same ship designs from 3,000 years ago. Taiho nodded. The aliens had not changed at all during the long peace. They still thought the same way, used the same technology, and made the same mistakes. Humans, on the other hand, had become something completely different. Any improvements to their weapons or shields? Tahoe asked. Minor upgrades only. Their energy output is about 12% higher than historical records, but their targeting systems are actually slower than before. It looks like they focused on making bigger guns instead of smarter ones. This was typical alien thinking. They believed that more power always meant better weapons. Humans had learned that intelligence was much more important than strength. A small, smart weapon could destroy a large, stupid one every time. Tahoe activated the communication system to contact Terra Defense Command. Admiral Wu's face appeared on the screen, but the image was strange. Instead of showing Wu in his office, it showed him standing in what looked like a vast cavern filled with thousands of ships. Reporting from position Alpha 7, Tahoe said. The alien fleet is moving exactly as predicted. No surprises so far? Excellent, Wu replied. Are you ready to observe the demonstration? Demonstration? Wu smiled. Director Yoon wants to test some of our new manufacturing capabilities. We are about to show you what human industry can accomplish. The screen changed to show Director Yoon, a woman who looked young but whose eyes held the wisdom of centuries. She stood in a control room overlooking what appeared to be empty space. Captain Tahoe, you are about to see something that took us 2,000 years to perfect. Watch your sensors carefully. Tahoe switched to his most sensitive detection equipment. At first he saw nothing but empty space. Then slowly something began to appear. It started as a few tiny points of light, then grew into recognizable shapes. Ships were forming out of nothing. Not just a few ships, but hundreds of them. They appeared like ghosts becoming solid, growing from invisible seeds into full-sized war vessels in a matter of minutes. How is this possible? Jin whispered. Director Yoon answered through the communication link. Nanoscale assemblers combined with dimensional manufacturing. We store raw materials in pocket dimensions and use self-replicating machines to build whatever we need. This particular demonstration is creating a full battle squadron from asteroid dust. Tahoe watched in amazement as the newly created ships powered up their engines and formed into perfect formation. Each vessel was sleek and deadly, unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen before. Their hulls seemed to shimmer and shift, as if they were not entirely solid. Those ships use phase shift technology, Yoon continued. They can exist partially outside normal space, making them nearly impossible to hit with conventional weapons. Their guns fire through dimensional barriers so enemy shields cannot stop them. This was what humans had accomplished during the 3,000 years of peace. While aliens remained the same, humans had rewritten the laws of physics and biology. They had become something that should not be possible. Jin was studying the readings from the new ships. Captain, these vessels do not register on most of our sensors. If I did not know they were there, I would think we were looking at empty space. That is the point, Tahoe said. The aliens will never see them coming. But the ships were only part of what humans had become. The real changes were deeper and more fundamental. During the Great Evolution, humans had modified themselves in ways that went beyond simple technology. Tahoe himself was an example of these changes. He looked like a normal human, but his body could survive in vacuum for hours without a spacesuit. His brain processed information faster than any computer the aliens possessed. His reflexes were so quick that he could dodge energy beams after they were fired. Jin was even more modified. She had been born in space and had never lived on a planet. Her eyes could see radiation that passed through solid matter. Her fingers could interface directly with ship systems without touching any controls. She could hold her breath for days and survive temperatures that would instantly kill the old humans. Most importantly, both of them would live for thousands of years. They had time to learn things that aliens could never master. They could plan for centuries ahead and wait patiently for the perfect moment to act. Admiral Wu's voice came through the communication system again. Captain, we are about to show you our defensive capabilities. Commander Ara is going to demonstrate the Phantom Fleet. Commander Ara appeared on screen. She looked like a young woman, but Tahoe knew she was over 1,000 years old. She had been alive during the last war and remembered fighting the aliens when humans still used metal bullets and chemical explosives. Hello, Captain, Ara said. Watch the space around you very carefully. Tahoe looked at his sensors but saw nothing unusual. Then Ara spoke a single word. Reveal. Suddenly the silent dawn was surrounded by ships. Massive war vessels appeared from nowhere, each one larger and more advanced than anything in the alien fleet. They had been there all along, hidden in dimensions that normal sensors could not detect. The Phantom Fleet has been guarding human space for 800 years, Ara explained. We have ships stationed around every important world, but they exist in folded space. The aliens could search for 1,000,000 years and never find them. Tejo counted the ships around him. There were at least 50 vessels, each one powerful enough to destroy an entire alien battle group. And this was just one small part of the human defense network. How many ships do we have in total? Tejo asked. That information is classified, Ara replied with a smile. But I can tell you that our manufacturing capabilities allow us to build fleets faster than the aliens can destroy them. Even if they won every battle, they would eventually lose the war. The demonstration continued for another hour. Tejo saw weapons that could destroy planets, shields that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, and factories that could turn entire star systems into war machines. Every piece of technology was far beyond anything the aliens possessed, but the most impressive thing was not the technology itself. It was the way humans used it. Every system was designed with patience and careful planning. Nothing was wasted, nothing was left to chance. Humans had spent 3,000 years preparing for this war, and it showed in every detail. When the demonstration ended, Tejo felt a mixture of pride and pity. Pride in what his species had accomplished, and pity for the aliens who had no idea what they were about to face. Director Yoon's voice came through the communication system one last time. Captain, please return to your monitoring position. The alien fleet should reach our border in 10 days. We want you to record everything that happens for historical purposes. Understood, Tejo replied. Will this really be a fair fight? No, Yoon said quietly. It will not be fair at all. The aliens are about to discover that they are no longer the strongest species in the galaxy. They stopped growing 3,000 years ago. We never stopped. The Silent Dawn moved back to its hidden position and waited. Around them, the human war machine prepared for battle. Ships moved through dimensions the aliens could not see. Weapons charged with power the aliens could not imagine. Soldiers who had trained for centuries took their positions. The Velkari thought they were coming to destroy a weak enemy. Instead, they were about to face the most advanced military force in galactic history. The humans they remembered no longer existed. What remained was something far more dangerous than anything the galaxy had ever seen, and the aliens had no idea what was waiting for them. The Velkari fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of human territory like a swarm of angry insects. 10,000 ships spread across space in perfect formation, their hulls gleaming with weapon ports and shield generators. Admiral Korath stood on the bridge of his flagship and smiled with satisfaction. Scan the system, he ordered his crew. I want to know what pathetic defenses the humans have prepared for us. The scanner operator, a young Velkari named Zilak, studied his readings with confusion. Sir, I am detecting 1 space station and approximately 12 ships. They appear to be using old human technology. Korath laughed. This was even easier than he had expected. 1 station and 12 ships? That is all they have to defend an entire star system? It appears so, sir. The station is broadcasting a standard identification signal. It calls itself Haven's Rest mining platform. The ships look like old cargo vessels. Korath activated the communication system to broadcast to the entire fleet. Attention all vessels. The humans have sent exactly what we expected. Obsolete ships and a single weak station. This will be over in minutes. Cheers came through the communication system from hundreds of alien ships. The crews were excited to finally face their ancient enemy. Many of them had volunteered for this mission specifically to win glory in the destruction of humanity. Commander Yoon stood on the bridge of Haven's Rest and watched the alien fleet approach. The space station looked old and battered from the outside, with rust stains and repair patches covering its hull. Inside, however, it was the most advanced fortress ever built by human hands. Yoon herself was an example of how much humans had changed. She looked like a normal woman in her 30s, but she had actually been alive for over 600 years. She had spent centuries preparing for this exact moment, studying alien tactics and perfecting human defenses. Tactical Officer Kai sat at his control station, monitoring the approaching fleet through sensors the aliens could not detect. Commander, I count exactly 10,417 enemy vessels. Fleet composition matches our intelligence reports perfectly. Any surprises? Yoon asked. None whatsoever. They are using the same formations and tactics they used 3,000 years ago. They have not learned anything new. Yoon nodded. The aliens had made their first mistake by not changing. Their second mistake was assuming humans had not changed either. Their third mistake was coming here at all. The communication system activated as the alien fleet commander demanded their attention. Admiral Korath's face appeared on the screen, his purple skin dark with anger, and his forearms gesturing dramatically. "Humans of Haven's Rest," Korath announced. "I am Admiral Korath of the Velkari hegemony. You are surrounded by the greatest war fleet in galactic history. Surrender immediately and your deaths will be quick. Resist, and we will make you suffer before you die." Yoon looked at the alien commander with calm interest. "Admiral Korath," she replied. "Thank you for coming all this way. We have been waiting for you." Korath was confused by her response. "Waiting for us? You should be begging for mercy, not making jokes." "Oh, we are not joking," Yoon said with a cold smile. "We have been waiting for 3,000 years. Please begin your attack whenever you are ready." The alien admiral stared at her in shock. In all his centuries of warfare, he had never seen prey that acted like a predator. "You are either very brave or very stupid, human. Either way, you will be dead soon." "We shall see," Yoon replied and cut the communication. Korath turned to his weapons officer. "Target the station and those pathetic ships. I want them destroyed immediately." The Velkari fleet opened fire with thousands of energy weapons. Beams of destructive force lanced across space toward the human defenders. The aliens expected to see the station explode, and the ships disintegrate under their overwhelming firepower. Instead, something impossible happened. The energy beams struck the station and simply disappeared. They did not bounce off shields or create explosions. They vanished as if they had never existed at all. "What happened?" Korath demanded. "Why did our weapons have no effect?" Zelak was frantically checking his instruments. "Sir, our weapons fired normally, but the energy readings show that they never reached the target. It is as if the beams ceased to exist halfway there." Korath did not understand what he was seeing. The human station should be a cloud of debris by now. Instead, it looked exactly the same as before. "Fire again." "Use maximum power!" The alien fleet fired a second volley, this time with every weapon they possessed. 10,000 ships unleashed enough destructive force to destroy entire planets. The space around Haven's Rest lit up like a star, as incredible amounts of energy rushed toward the human defenders. Once again, the weapons simply vanished before reaching their targets. The human station and ships remained completely undamaged. On the bridge of Haven's Rest, Kai was monitoring the alien attack with professional interest. "Commander, their weapons are exactly as ineffective as we predicted. The dimensional shields are absorbing everything they can throw at us." "Excellent," Yoon replied. "Are our own weapons ready?" "Yes, Commander. All systems are charged and targeting is locked." Yoon activated the station's communication system to address the alien fleet. "Admiral Korath, thank you for that demonstration. Now please observe what human weapons can do." The space station that had looked like an old mining platform suddenly transformed. Hidden weapon ports opened along its hull, revealing arrays of devices that gleamed with deadly purpose. The 12 cargo ships around it shed their disguises as well, showing themselves to be sleek warships unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. But that was not the most shocking revelation. All around the alien fleet, space itself began to change. Hundreds of human ships appeared from nowhere, emerging from dimensions the aliens had never imagined. They surrounded the Velkari fleet in perfect formation, their weapons already charged and ready to fire. Pilot Min sat in the cockpit of her fighter ship as it materialized from folded space. She was young, only 50 years old, but she had been training for this battle her entire life. Her ship was small compared to the alien vessels, but it carried enough firepower to destroy a heavy cruiser. "This is Strike Leader Min to all fighter squadrons," she announced through the communication system. "Targets are locked. Weapons are free. Show them what human engineering can accomplish." The human fleet opened fire simultaneously, but these were not the crude energy beams the aliens used. Human weapons fired through dimensional barriers, bypassing shields and armor as if they did not exist. Each shot was precisely targeted to cause maximum damage with minimum waste. The results were devastating. Alien ships did not just explode when hit by human weapons. They were torn apart at the molecular level, their matter converted directly into energy. Entire vessels simply ceased to exist, leaving behind nothing but brief flashes of light. Admiral Korath watched in horror as his fleet was destroyed around him. Ships that had taken decades to build were eliminated in seconds. Crews that had trained for centuries died without even understanding what had killed them. "Retreat," he screamed into the communication system. "All ships retreat immediately." But there was nowhere to run. Human ships appeared wherever the aliens tried to flee, cutting off every escape route. The aliens found themselves trapped in a perfect sphere of enemy vessels, each one more advanced than their most powerful warships. Commander Yoon watched the destruction with cold satisfaction. Every alien ship was exactly where her people had predicted it would be. Every shot fired by human weapons hit exactly where it was aimed. This was not a battle. It was an execution. "Commander," Kai reported, "enemy fleet strength is down to 30% and falling rapidly. Should we accept any surrender offers?" "No," Yoon replied. "These aliens came here to commit genocide. They wanted to wipe out every human in the galaxy. They deserve no mercy." The one-sided slaughter continued for 20 minutes. When it was over, only a handful of alien ships remained intact. These survivors had not been spared by accident. Human targeting computers had deliberately avoided destroying them. Yoon opened a communication channel to the surviving aliens. "Admiral Korath, if you are still alive, please respond." A weak voice came through the static. "I am here, human. You have won. We surrender." "No," Yoon said quietly. "You do not get to surrender. You came here to destroy us completely, remember? You wanted to make us suffer before we died. Please," Korath begged. "We made a mistake. We did not know you had become so powerful. Now you do know," Yoon replied. "Return to your masters. Tell them exactly what happened here. Tell them that humanity is no longer prey. Tell them that we have been waiting for them to make exactly this mistake." The surviving alien ships limped away from the battlefield, carrying news of the most one-sided defeat in galactic history. Behind them, the human fleet began cleaning up the debris and preparing for the next phase of the war. Commander Yoon stood on her bridge and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the rest of the alien fleet was waiting to learn what had happened to their advance force. Soon they would discover that the humans they remembered no longer existed. The prey had become the predator, and the hunt was just beginning. The surviving Velkari ships limped back to their homeworld like wounded animals. Admiral Korath sat in his damaged command chair, staring at reports he could barely believe. In 20 minutes, the humans had destroyed 10,000 ships with almost no effort. The greatest war fleet in galactic history had been eliminated by an enemy that barely seemed to notice it was fighting. High Counselor Veltar waited in the council chambers as the survivors returned. He had expected to receive reports of glorious victory and human surrender. Instead, his communication officers brought him recordings that made no sense. "Show me the battle footage again," Veltar demanded. The holographic display activated, showing the final moments of the Velkari fleet. Veltar watched human ships appear from empty space like ghosts becoming solid. He saw weapons that ignored shields and armor, destroying vessels that should have been impossible to kill. He saw his people die without understanding what was happening to them. "This cannot be real," Veltar whispered. "Humans do not have this technology. They are barely more advanced than animals." His science advisor, an elderly Velkari named Thek, shook his head slowly. "The recordings have been verified multiple times. This is what actually happened. Somehow in 3,000 years the humans have surpassed us completely. How is that possible? We have been the dominant species for 50,000 years. We have technology that other races can barely understand." "Perhaps that is the problem," Thek replied. "We stopped advancing because we thought we were already perfect." The humans never stopped learning. Veltar activated the emergency communication system to contact every allied species in the hegemony. Representatives from hundreds of worlds appeared on screens around the chamber, all demanding to know what had happened to their fleets. "The humans have revealed military capabilities far beyond our intelligence estimates," Veltar announced. "Our initial attack has failed. We must reconsider our strategy." The alien representatives erupted in angry questions. They had sent their ships to participate in what was supposed to be an easy victory. Now those ships were gone, destroyed by an enemy they had underestimated completely. "How many ships did we lose?" asked Ambassador Krix of the Zentari Empire. "All of them," Veltar replied quietly. "The humans allowed exactly 17 ships to escape. Everything else was destroyed." The silence that followed was deafening. In 50,000 years of galactic warfare, no one had ever seen such a complete defeat. Entire fleets had been lost before, but never with such casual ease. "What do we do now?" asked Commander Yelt of the Gorvan Republic. Before Veltar could answer, every communication screen in the chamber activated simultaneously. The face that appeared was not alien but human. A woman with calm eyes and a cold smile looked out at the assembled representatives of the galactic hegemony. "Good day," the woman said in perfect Velkari. "My name is Prime Minister Mira of the Human Colonial Federation. I believe you have some things to discuss with us." Veltar stood up from his chair, his forearms shaking with rage. "How did you breach our communication systems?" "This chamber is completely secure. Your security was designed to stop technology from 3,000 years ago," Mira replied. "It is not adequate for modern human capabilities. We have been monitoring your communications for centuries." The alien leaders looked at each other with growing fear. If humans could hack their most secure systems, what else could they do? "What do you want?" Veltar demanded. "To talk," Mira said simply. "You declared war on us, remember? You demanded our surrender and threatened to destroy every human in the galaxy. Now that you have seen what we are capable of, perhaps we can have a more productive conversation." Supreme Commander Day appeared beside Mira on the screen. He was a tall man with gray hair and the bearing of someone who had fought in more wars than anyone could count. "Honored representatives of the hegemony," he said, "you have two choices. You can continue this war and face the complete destruction of your civilizations, or you can accept the new reality and join us in building a better galaxy." "Join you?" Veltar spat. "We are the rightful rulers of this galaxy. We will never bow to humans." "You misunderstand," Commander Day replied calmly. "We are not asking you to bow. We are offering you the chance to evolve." Admiral Sol appeared on the screen as well. Behind her, vast displays showed human fleets moving through space. There were thousands of ships, each one more advanced than anything the aliens possessed. "While you have been talking, our forces have taken position around every major world in your territory. We could destroy your entire civilization right now if we chose to, but we do not choose to," Mira added. "We would prefer to help you become something better than what you are." Director Ree, the head of human post-war planning, joined the conversation. "For 3,000 years we have watched your species stagnate. You stopped learning, stopped growing, stopped trying to improve yourselves. You became comfortable with your power and forgot that the universe does not stand still." "What are you saying?" asked Ambassador Crix. "We are saying that you can learn from us," Ree explained. "Human technology can extend your lifespans, improve your intelligence, and give you capabilities you never imagined. Our manufacturing techniques can provide abundance for every member of your species. Our medical knowledge can eliminate disease and suffering. And in return?" Veltar asked suspiciously. "In return, you accept that humanity is now the dominant species in this galaxy," Commander Day said. "You follow our lead in exploration and development. You help us build a civilization worthy of the stars." The alien representatives whispered among themselves, trying to understand what they were being offered. It was not conquest in the traditional sense. The humans were not demanding tribute or territory. They were offering partnership, but only if the aliens accepted their new place in the galactic order. "What if we refuse?" asked Commander Yelt. "Then you will be left behind," Admiral Sol replied. "We will not destroy you unless you attack us again, but we will also not help you when your civilizations begin to crumble from their own stagnation. In 1,000 years you will still be using the same technology you have today, while we will have advanced beyond your ability to comprehend." Director Ree activated a holographic display showing the galaxy. "We are already making contact with species beyond your territory. Young civilizations that are eager to learn and grow. They will become our partners while you remain trapped in the past." Veltar realized that the humans were offering them a choice between evolution and extinction. Not immediate extinction, but the slow death of obsolescence. The species that had ruled the galaxy for 50,000 years would become irrelevant museum pieces. "How do we know you will keep your promises?" he asked. "Because we have been keeping them for 3,000 years, Mira replied. "During the Armistice, we could have attacked you at any time. We chose not to because we hoped you would grow and change on your own. When you declared war on us, we could have destroyed your entire fleet before it left your territory. Instead, we waited for you to attack first. We want partners, not slaves," Commander Day added. "But those partners must be willing to accept that the old ways of thinking are no longer adequate for the galaxy we are building." The conversation continued for hours as human leaders explained their vision for the future. They described technologies that could terraform dead worlds, medical treatments that could extend life indefinitely, and exploration techniques that could reach distant galaxies. But they also made it clear that these benefits came with a price. The aliens would have to abandon their belief in their own superiority. They would have to accept human leadership and human values. They would have to change everything about how they viewed themselves and their place in the universe. When the meeting finally ended, the alien representatives were left to make the most important decision in their species' history. They could fight a war they could not win, or they could accept that they were no longer the dominant force in the galaxy. Ambassador Hyun sat in his office at the edge of human space, reading reports of the new negotiations. The war he had waited for his entire life was over before it truly began. Now came the harder task of building peace with species that had to accept their new place in the cosmic order. His communication panel chimed with a message from Terra Command. Ambassador Hyun, the message read, "Prepare for the arrival of diplomatic delegations from 47 alien species. They have requested meetings to discuss joining the Human Colonial Federation." Hyun smiled as he began preparing for humanity's new role as the leaders of galactic civilization. The 3,000-year armistice was over, but what came next would be far more interesting than any war. The humans had not just won a military victory. They had forced an entire galaxy to acknowledge that the future belonged to those willing to grow and change. The species that adapted would prosper. Those that refused would be left behind. It was a new reality, and humanity would make sure everyone understood it.